Welcome to Kindle Love Stories. I'm your host, Laura Ropay, and we are here in our high school library because it's back to school time. And because of that theme, we are talking to two of my favorite authors who write about that time period in our lives, Rebecca Donovan and J. Sterling. Rebecca is the author of the best-selling Breathing series, and Jen Sterling is the author of The Perfect Game and The Game Changer. What is it about coming of age and going back to high school or right after high school maybe that appeals to people so much and makes people connect so much with your books? Rebecca?
I think it's because if you haven't been there yet or you're going through it, it's something that you can relate to and relive. Those 4 years of your life, 4 years in the spectrum of your entire life isn't a big, long time, but it leaves such a huge impact. And it's life-altering. You're always going back to it and saying, remember when. And so those 4 years are very formative in the rest of your life.
I tend to write more college-age characters, even if they're just freshmen in college, so right out of high school. I really write that period because I really enjoy reading about that time in life. And I enjoy kind of going back and reliving that period. There was something about just college age that I really loved and had a great time. And so I think that people like reading about that time because they can put their own memories in during those years and also get lost in the story that's being told.
One thing, as you mentioned, is friends. You both, I really love the friend networks that you both created in your books. I think that that's a really huge component for people of looking back at their youth and looking back at the bonds that they created. And I always say this, the people that I met in high school and college, to this day, they know me, apart from my job or the way the world defines me. They just know me, my little soul, my little spirit. Do you feel that same way about the friends that you create for your main characters?
Yeah, there's a vulnerability that they get to see you in your awkward moments, in your vulnerable times, at your worst, at your best. From your changes from when you are prepubescent to when you are now, a woman, or it's just allows them to see you grow up, and now nobody gets to see that more than once. You only do it once.
Both of you are extremely accessible to your readers and really connected to your readers. It's like you're very communicative with them. And I think that you both write from such a place of honesty and vulnerability that would be my guess as to why people connect with you and the way that you connect back. You write from truth. You write from a place of truth.
I consider myself a realistic fiction writer. So there has the life elements that bring that realism, so people can, if they haven't lived it, they feel like they're living it. They feel like they're there. I've read this review just the other day that she's like, I just felt like picking up the phone and calling Emma and giving her some support, but then I realized she's not real. But it's when that line is when you feel like these characters are people you know and who they are. And so that's how I write, is they are people I know. I get to know their psyche, I get to know their personalities, I get to know exactly who they are and what they're going through based on my own personal experiences, having been in high school and just that, and then adding the fiction part of it. That's the realistic, and then there's the fiction. And you're taking these elements that can be real, and then you're making them more.
Yes.
Rebecca's books are, they're beautifully written. I can look at all of Rebecca's books and look at my own books and see how different they are and see how her writing is so, it's so intense in a different way than, because we each have our own voice. So I can see where her readers would be more intense with her than they are, definitely more playful and silly with me than with her. She's just, it is intense, it's a different level. Everything that she does, it all, there's a reason for everything that happens in her books. There's not always a reason for everything in mine. It would just be like, well, it just happened. Well, why did you do it? Well, I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I wanted to but Rebecca will be like, well, it had to happen for this and this and this and this and this, and then for this. And she's just very intelligent in the way that she writes.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. And you are extremely entertaining.
Entertaining.
Thanks.
You are extremely entertaining, and I cried buckets reading your book too. So don't, your book is extremely intense in its own way as well. And I'm
It's
talking
just
about I know you get hordes and hordes of compliments and people loving you and sending you wonderful, wonderful praise. Is there any kind of criticism or any kind of like, well, I love this, but that you sometimes get?
But no, they get frustrated with Emma. She doesn't make the right decision once throughout the entire book until the very end. Not once.
Not once.
Her best interest is usually wrong. So no, she always messes up the whole way through, and people want to shake her and be like, what are you doing? That frustration, that, you know, her being young, and sometimes they think about it, they forget that she is 16, 17, so forth, and so she's not going to make the right decisions. She doesn't realize the impact of her world in this catastrophic place that she's in. She feels so small in it, and she doesn't have any power, and you want to empower her, you want to see her grow, and you have to be patient with that. You have to just let her figure out on her own. It's not a quick fix.
No, and you can't project a 30-year-old life experience onto this 16-year-old girl.
You can't tell her to pick up the phone and ask for help. You can't give her those instructions that you know you can look back on. And those people that say, I would have, great, amazing, that's not her. So I applaud them for being that empowered in their life. But knowing, I give her a psychological profile. I give her this whole persona of who she is, down to the decisions that she has to make, and they're not always right. And she can be frustrating, absolutely frustrating.
People like to tell me that I write like a 12-year-old, which is totally fine, because maybe after they see this interview, they'll realize that I am a 12-year-old.
It's your voice. Your books are your voice.
It is. I mean, I literally write the way I talk. I write the way I talk. My dialogue is how I speak to my friends. To me, it's very natural. It's very, and most of the time I get that. I love your dialogue. Your dialogue flows. But it's the other.
Love your dialogue.
It's the other people who are, nobody talks like this. Nope, no, I don't know anybody who talks like this. The writer must be 12 years old and has never had a conversation with any normal 20-year-old in her whole life. I'm like, that's cool, thanks.
So tell me, were any of the dates from the books real?
Yeah, I pulled from a lot of dates, actually. I did the atypical dates, so batting cages, hikes, things like that, so I had those in there. But the night, and only you know this if you've read the book, that of Evan's birthday, with the dinner, it was my 18th birthday. The whole dinner and the roses and him making dinner for her, that was my 18th birthday.
Oh, because that was really so nice.
I know, it was such a romantic moment in my life. I had to write about it.
Oh, it was romantic in the book too. Oh, that's nice to know that's real.
Yeah.
Oh, and we already know that Jack is real.
I know.
So, but a lot of it's real in your book.
A lot of it's real, and a lot of it is fiction as well. I mean, it's definitely both. But it's not necessarily the date part that's real, but the quarters are real. So the quarters really happen. They didn't happen on our first date. Jack and I had a class together, and he would reach out and touch me, and I'd be like, don't touch me. It costs you a quarter every time you touch me. Of course, I upped it to 50 cents for inflation. But so at the time, I was like, it costs you a quarter every time you touch me. So the next time he came to class, he literally like reached into his bag, had all these quarters, and threw them on my desk. And I was like, okay, I love you.
That's a good
I love you
move.
forever. Yes. Yeah, the quarters, totally real. I loved it.
What was your yearbook award in high school?
Most likely to be the biggest surprise of where I am in my life. So the difference between then and now.
The class clown, which I think I would still get right now today, because I haven't changed.
And what was your favorite high school subject?
I was really good at math, actually. I would say bio, actually, too. I'm a science girl.
I liked English. I hated math, hated science. Why did they make us learn foreign languages? It doesn't stick when we're children.
Did you play any sports in high school?
I did. I played field hockey. I was captain of the field hockey team. I think coming with my math is I did the stats for the guys' basketball team, too. So
Sure you did. Yes.
I was the little sister on the team. Trust me, I was not, no.
I played softball and volleyball.